Hello, Melanin Monarchy citizens. This is your Monarch here with the Year End Wrapup. 2025 has been a stellar year for Melanin Monarchy. And so we are going to talk about most of the things that we got a chance to do in 2025. Let's go. I had really what I thought was a lofty goal. I thought it was a lofty goal and the things that I wanted to accomplish as far as the live events that I wanted to see. And I was able to surpass that and do some other things. And so I am really grateful, so thankful, you guys. And I could not have done this without you. I could not have done any of these things without you guys being along with me. So let's talk about exactly what Melanin Monarchy was able to accomplish in 2025. Well, one of the things that we did our virtual world, our virtual castle that we have on the global business plaza, which is on the Go Brunch platform. I was able to do that. And then we were able to do a Depeche Mode film, a DM discussion virtually online. And I got a bunch of different experts who I love. They gave me their time, and even people from across the pond, you guys know, and they were there to talk. We were just there. We were talking about the film, and that was beautiful. That was wonderful. I love that. Another thing that Melanin Monarchy did is that we coined a phrase. You guys, we coined the phrase legacy artist. Now, basically what legacy artist, that means the definition for a legacy artist is someone who has been creating for over 40 years, someone who has still a very active fan base even today, and they are still doing new projects over the past 10 years. Like in the past 10 years, they've done a new project. So I label that, we at Melanin Monarchy label those creatives as legacy artists. And another thing that we did a ton of concerts. We did a ton. I mean, whoa, wait until we get into these numbers and we're going to talk about that. So what classifies as a live event? Basically, any place that you actually have to go out and go see a creative where people are gathered at. That's what a live event is. If a creative was there, it was an entertainment event. You had to get up out of your house and you had to go. That's a live event. Basically, simple, but we saw a ton of legends. And I wrote down just real quick some of the legends that I got a chance to see live in 2025. Here's just a small list. Air Supply, Ambrosia, Babyface, Beach Boys, Bonnie Raitt, Charlie Wilson, Uncle Charlie, The Coasters, The Drifters, Earth, Wind and Fire, George Clinton in Parliament, basically P-Funk, Kool and the Gang, The Oak Ridge Boys, Peebo Bryson, Ricky Lee Jones, Robert Plant, Shalimar, Sheena Easton, The Stylistics, Taste of Honey, Thelma Houston, Wayne Newton, The Wailers, and did I say Eagleburg Humperdinck? You guys, Eagleburg Humperdinck. I want to go see that. The Wailers, The Whispers, and Detroit's own Mr. Smokey Robinson. We saw a ton of legends in 2025. I'm telling you, I just love it. Now let's get into the numbers. So let's talk about the artists. The number of, it's not really the artists because I saw a ton of artists, especially with festivals, including Cruel World. So I just calculated Cruel World as one, but a number of the live events that we went to, 86. in 2025. We went to 86 live events, you guys. We saw 7 comedians. We visited 24 venues. And really, that's kind of shortchanging it because some of the events that I went to were pop-ups. They were in by the beach. They were at the park. They were at a private residence. So, it was amazing. It was amazing. We got a chance to see 8 films. Now I know you guys are like, oh well, you didn't get to see a lot of films, but my kids will see films and they will kind of ruin it for me. And I'm really, really particular about the films that I see, so that's why it's just so minimum. And really, a lot of the films out there are trash. Sorry, not sorry. But we did get a chance to see 8 films slash documentaries, and I was very proud about that. So Melanin Monarchy, who did we meet and who did we get a chance to talk to? Well, you guys, we got a chance to talk to a lot of crew members. Love talking to crew. A lot of the things that I'm always part of a crew when I'm on a film project or any kind of project, and so they're close and dear to me. So I love talking to crew. I love talking to the sound people, whether they were the roadies, whether they were the electricians, pyrotechnicians. We talked to spouses. Got a chance to talk to spouses. That was great. So we got a chance to talk to a lot of people. Now, what were some of the unexpected surprises, bucket list, and fangirl moments for your Monarch, you guys? All right, so yeah, you know how I feel about Nitzer Ave. You know that we got a chance to sit down with them again. Me and my bruh, we got a chance to see them and to rock out with them and all the people that were there at the Mayan. We got to talk about the Mayan. Do you know the Mayan is reopened now? We'll talk about that later. But at the Mayan, right on the cusp when they were closing, but now they've reopened in LA. And so, even though I know them, I've broken bread with them, I've gone to birthday parties, talking to the guys in Nitzer Ebb is not something that is abnormal for me, but I fangirl out every time. Every time they get on stage, I fangirl out. And the last time we got to Mayan, somebody had to tell me to sit down. Can you believe that? They told me to sit down. Yes, so I fangirl over Nitzer Ebb all the time. Totally in love with, fell in love with. And you guys, you give me an old British rocker, your Monarch's in love. Very easy. Extremely easy. Totally fell in love with Billy Idol. Saw Billy Idol. It's like, Billy Idol. Love Billy Idol. Totally crushing. Huge crush. Huge crush that I have on Steve Harris. And he is the guitarist for Gary Newman. I saw Gary Newman again this year. And they just have an amazing show. And their basses, Gary Newman's basses and guitars they're something to see on stage. They really are. There's something to see on stage. And Steve Harris, he came out and all this. He had to come out because he was looking at me like, who's this little black girl? Keep yelling my name. Keep yelling for me. So after his set before Psychedelic Furs went on, he came on out and looked like a regular person. He had on his Adidas on. He had on his Adidas and brown shirt, brown pants. And he was very lovely, very sweet. He came down, he met me and some of the other fans that were sitting with me. And I, again, crushing on Steve Harris. I will admit that. Sorry, Mrs. Steve Harris. I got to meet Wayne Newton. Charming. Wayne Newton, Mr. Las Vegas, completely charming. Now I see how younger women fall for 80-year-old men. He was so completely charming. But the one person that your Monarch got a chance to see that I just completely fangirl out for was Josie Cotton. And I am a huge Valley Girl fan. Love the whole soundtrack from the film Valley Girl. Josie Cotton, she was actually in the film Valley Girl. And so she did a concert out here. Was an 80s thing, and I just thought that seeing her was just a wonderful moment. Okay, now let's get into the best in cast. Here we go. Now the cast system is the CAST: connectivity, aesthetics, sound, and temperature. So for the best right now so far that I saw in the cast in connectivity, probably it's a toss up between Chris Isaac and Casey from Jodeci, because you guys know how I feel about when you come out into the audience. You're not scared of the audience. People. Bryson had said that when I saw him, and he said, "Hey, I'm not scared of you guys." But again, Chris Isaac, the way he came out, very unexpected, and KC stayed out in the audience for half his set, if not even 80% of his set. And he just walked around, and I thought that was amazing. So their connectivity, they were the best. Aesthetics, the sound. Again, a toss up between the stylistics and Chris Isaac. Now, aesthetically, you guys know how I feel when people get on stage, the coordination of your outfit, how you present yourself, and also visuals. And the stylistics, by them being, you know, been around for over 50 years, they be styling. That's what I gotta say. They be styling. They were crisp, they were smooth in their choreography. You can tell that it was just clean. It was like butter. It was like butter. And Chris Isaac also, he had his outfit on, his men, his guys at his band, they also were very coordinated. They even had their choreography down, for a bunch of rockabilly white boys. And so it's a toss up between those two. So the aesthetics, I couldn't choose. So I just said the stylistics and Chris Isaac. The sound, again, another toss up. You guys, I'm so double. I don't want to say I'm double minded. I'm not double minded, but again, a toss up. Sound. When you hear Gary Newman, for all of you guys who saw Gary Newman perform in 2025, you've probably seen him before, but when you saw him again perform in 2025, some of us, it was the first time, not for me, but for other people, it was the first time you've seen Gary Newman. You know, he blew your hair back. We were all, just their sound is just amazing how they bring it. And so I'm very, very impressed by their live performance. And I think that their sound is amazing. Also, Creed. That was my first time seeing Creed in 2025. I was in the pit, close to the front. You know, your Monarch, we don't do pits. We don't really like that pits. We don't do pits. But it was probably the better thing for me because they were not rowdy, and I was able to experience Creed a little bit closer. And their sound was just crisp. And so I love that. Temperature, hands down, probably the biggest concert of 2025 that I was actually able to see for 2025 was Oasis. Oasis fans, I don't know where all these Brit expats came from. The show was in LA, two sold out shows at the Pasadena Rose Bowl. Meeting the fans, they came out in their bucket hats. They came out in their, also their Adidas, their jogging outfits. They were ready to go. The Oasis fans, boys and girls, there were whole Oasis clubs. Like, there were clusters of people. It's kind of like Devo. There were clusters of people that were dressed the same. And the temperature for the Oasis the fans just showed up and showed out for Oasis. And so they were tops in the temperature. So that's, you guys, that's the cast system. Those were the ones that were the best. Best live entertainment. Boy, oh boy, that again was very difficult. I saw a lot of amazing, amazing live artists. And if I had to choose of the best, which one of them I really should have not included. I should have, what do you call that when you have to kick them out? I should have excluded them. I should have disqualified. Right. I should have disqualified them. Was Nitzer F. I should disqualify them because of course they're going to be great, right? I'm a Nitzer F fan. Love them. They're going to be great, but they just did an amazing job, especially, you know, with the death of one of their members and still being able to go on. They still did a wonderful job. And so Nitzer Ebb, also Creed was amazing. I was so very impressed by their live show. Alice Cooper, rock opera, loved every minute of it. Loved all of the show, the choreography, the storytelling, everything that Alice Cooper brought to the stage. And I knew he was going to do something fabulous like that. And he's probably been doing it for years. It's just that I have never had the opportunity to see him. And I saw him and he was amazing. Also, Uncle Charlie's Cookout. Now, Uncle Charlie's Cookout, it was Charlie Wilson, Casey Haley from Jodeci, and Mr. Babyface. And you could not have asked for a better lineup of gentlemen, of classy R&B gentlemen who've been around for a very, very long time and who still has it. They still have the voice. They still have the artistry. They still have a lot of those things. And so And aesthetically, especially with Uncle Charlie, because even in, he was on the road for a long time, and so a lot of that can get to you. But his team did a wonderful job for taking up the slack where where it was needed, and so I enjoyed all of those. Best artist comeback, you guys. Now I got to see a lot of artist comebacks that I thought were comebacks, like TLC, Joan Jett, Marilyn Manson. I feel like those were comebacks for these artists, but the number one artist comeback, Men Without Hats. Men Without Hats. Men Without Hats have a no nonsense fun. They're just fun. They get on stage and they just want to have fun. They play their famous song in the beginning, they play it in the end, and sometimes they play it 2 or 3 times in different versions. And that takes guts. That takes knowing who you are. They don't have an identity problem of who they are. They are an 80s band. They are very proud to be an 80s band. They're not trying to be anything else, even with their new music that they've done. So they go into that legacy category. And Men Without Hats were the best, I would say, comeback band. I wanted to say Oasis, but I don't think that Oasis has done anything new, maybe. But for me, seeing Men Without Hats, I saw them twice this year, and I just thought that they were the best comeback. Best in Royal. Now, the Royal Assessment, which I'm going to also put up right here, the Royal Assessment is about the venue. It's about assessing the venue. And as you can see, ROYAL, what those mean and how I assess these venues. And you guys, I'm just going to say the best Royal venue, the venue that really, really rolls out the red carpet for the artist guest, is Pechanga Casino in Temecula, California. Not only do they have a ton of artists that comes there, and I want to get into why that particular casino gets so many artists and other venues don't, but they get like really, really good artists. Their team is also amazing. Their team that they hire is also amazing. Never really, I'm trying to think, have I had a off experience? I don't believe that I have had an off experience. If I did, it was corrected extremely fast. And so for a venue in the Royal category, Pechanga Casino in Temecula is tops. I've attended more live events there. The staff were the nicest. The audience members ranged in great fun to, they ranged in age and also in great fun. Audience members also can get up and close personal to the artist, and I love that. Seats are comfy, right? The seats are comfy. It's not a bad seat in any one of their auditoriums because they have two. Just great viewing capacity at Temecula and both of their concert halls. They have the conference and then they have the smaller one, and they just did well. I really don't like to say what's the worst. I like to say the one that needs Melanin Monarchy more than anybody else. But we're just going to say this venue was the worst. I got a bone to pick with this venue. You know what you did. And the worst venue was Thornton Winery in Temecula, California. Now, both of these venues, Pechanga and Thornton Winery, they're close to each other, but they're an hour away from where I am. So you guys, I will travel all the way up to LA and back, and maybe even in other cities to see live events. Seen some in Arizona, gone to Vegas, gone to Detroit, other places, but you can't afford, especially when you're out in the sticks, to be a bad venue. And this is a conversion. This is a winery. They host a jazz festival, and their manager hates the guest. She does. She doesn't like the guest. She's there to get paid, and she doesn't like the guest. And I don't know how she treats the other staff members. Another thing is that when you have a certain demographic that goes there and the staff is not that demographic, not even, maybe maybe a security guy. But, anyway, the viewing is bad. The seats, they're trying to cram everybody in, and they're not really thinking of how they could get the most for their viewing audience they just think, just bring the artist. They'll come, just bring the artist. Oh, contraire mon frere. That's not it. And it's not even that, because I've been to venues that could use a little help with how to make the experience better for in a good price range where they're not breaking the budget. They already don't have a lot of money. How to make the really roll out the red carpet for the artist. This particular venue, their management is mean. Their management is completely mean, and everybody gets an off day. Everybody does, but you can tell the soul of somebody. Not that they're just having a bad day. The soul is dark, and so Thornton Winery is probably the worst venue. We'll see what happens in 2026, and I will let you guys know. Now, the second that also was this close to being on my list, but I took them off because I met some really nice people that work there, and I thought it's not fair to just because this certain team is terrible, but these people over here are very nice. It's not fair to lump them in the worst. But the Sound in Del Mar, they have an issue there, and it should be corrected again. Mean people. If the parking is off or the bathroom stank or something like that, the seats are small, I'm not gonna, about that. But when you as a person are just mean to the guest because you feel like being mean to the guest, that's a no to me. However, there's a staff that there are certain venues that kind of coordinate with different staff members, and you will see these staff members go from venue to venue, and they'll act one way at one venue and then they'll act another way at another venue. So I don't know if they're schizophrenic or whatever, but the Sound almost made my list. But there were some very nice people that I met at the Sound, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to put you on my list just because. So for the worst, those are the worst venues. If you're in San Diego County, your Monarch said it, 2025, but 2026, everybody gets another year. Yay, even I get another year. Best comedy show, hands down, Sebastian Maniscalco. Runner up was Jim Gaffigan, who was with Jerry Seinfeld at the Pachanga Arena in San Diego. But Sebastian Maniscalco, just his whole set was it was just comedy genius because it's just everything that I go through, and a lot of people were. It just resonated with a lot of people. And if you have never seen Sebastian Maniscalco, you're missing out. You need to go see immediately. Now, who was not the worst? We're not going to say the worst for this one, but who really needs the Melanin Monarchy attention in the area of comedy is Mr. Tracy Morgan. If you have not seen that review, I would definitely say go check out that review. I am a fan of Tracy Morgan. I was just watching, what was that one film? It was an old Burt Reynolds film, and they made it. Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan was in it. I think it's called The Replacements or something like that. But anyway, well, not The Replacements. It was something else. But Tracy Morgan, I've seen a lot of Tracy Morgan films. I really like Tracy Morgan, and I was very, very disappointed with that particular one. But I still took a picture with him afterwards. So I could not have been that disappointed. He was just having a day. He really was. He was probably having more than a day. And I gotta lighten up on Tracy Morgan because he's just been around for a long time, and he's a great artist, and having an off season, it's not fair for me to trash him for that. So he really just needs the Melanin Monarchy touch. Best film. The best film now, like I said before, I skimped on films because of my kids. They go to films and they come back and they tell me all about it and they ruin it. And then I just go, okay, I'm not going to go see that. There's no way I want to go see that. But there was, of course, there was a lot of great films, a lot of great documentaries that I got a chance to see. The Depeche Mode documentary, the Devo documentary that was streaming, Sinners, 28 Years, Caught Stealing, and Land of Wolves, which was an independent film by Raul Yu, and Sarah's Oil. Those were some of the films that Melanin Monarchy got a chance to see, and documentaries that I got a chance to see, even some repeats like Napoleon Dynamite and The Great Lebowski. Now, there was a tie with the best film for 2025 for me, and that was the Jeff Buckley's It's Never Over, and AKA Charlie Sheen. Now, I didn't want to attach Devo and Charlie, aka Charlie Sheen, because I saw them on streaming platforms. It wasn't technically a live event, but I went ahead and included them because I did a review online on my YouTube channel about those particular things. And so I wanted to include them here, but I had to include AKA Charlie Sheen because it was amazing. That whole documentary was amazing. Now let's briefly talk about Jeff Buckley. I did this review with some really, really good friends of mine. My friend Lisa and her sister Chrissy. We went to they just did a wonderful job just giving their take on Jeff Buckley. And you guys are not familiar with Jeff Buckley, you really do need to go hear his music. He's no longer with us. He died very, very young. And while he was here, his music, he just would have been one of the greats. You could tell that he just really would have been one of the greats. And people keep making documentaries about Jeff Buckley. And so Amy Berg made a documentary, of course, produced by his mother, who is still living, and Brad Pitt. Now, Jeff Buckley's father was famous, Mr. Tim Buckley. But Jeff Buckley, he was just an amazing artist. In this particular documentary, this is documentary number 2, I think, or documentary number 3. It was just a wonderful thing. Go check out my review of It's Never Over, the Jeff Buckley documentary, aka Charlie Sheen. The reason why I had to include aka Charlie Sheen, because there was so much memory recall for me. I remember him being in the news consistently, and the documentary, I was reliving those feelings, those thoughts that I had about Charlie Sheen. And I am so glad that he humbled himself enough to talk about it. And like I said in my review, I did my review in, I believe, like 7 or 8 parts of how he seemed to be very, very honest about a lot of things. And there was no question that seemed to me that he was trying to shy away from. He was just honest about it, anything and everything. Now, for people may go, well, why didn't you talk about, P. Diddy, the 50 Cent documentary? Here's the thing, you guys. It's easy to sling mud on somebody else, especially somebody you don't like. And I thought that the P. Diddy thing was more salacious than a look in the mirror, right? Normally when you do documentaries, you kind of see how you could kind of course correct for yourself. And I don't think that the 50 Cent P. Diddy documentary was going to do that, because 50 Cent not going to tell about himself. He was just going to tell about somebody that he obviously hates. And I just didn't feel like that was something for me worth seeing right now. Especially, I haven't seen it. So there's no review, so I didn't address the whole P. Diddy thing. Now, films that are not the worst, but that really need the Melanin Monarchy touch. You guys, I am a producer and a writer. Melanin Monarchy touch was being caught stealing, right? Caught stealing. How you gonna name a film Caught Stealing and not include the Jane's Addiction song? Maybe Perry Farrell said no. Maybe somebody else kind of hummed it or whatever, sung it in the film. I didn't hear it, but I was pissed off at that. I was like, okay, so I'm not going to hear the dog barking, the song. Disappointed. Another thing, listen, seriously, this film, Caught Stealing, with, who is his name? Butler, Austin Butler. Caught Stealing was basically, it was about an irresponsible mama's boy who was just selfish. He was just selfish and irresponsible with a perfect body. He had like perfect abs after being an alcoholic for 5 years on beer. After being an alcoholic for 5 years, he got the perfect body, and he essentially sacrifices his beautiful, responsible, loving, supportive girlfriend essentially for money. And I didn't appreciate that. I spit on you. Caught stealing for murdering Zoe Kravitz like that. Didn't like it. So that's why they needed my attention, because that whole screen play should have been rewritten. Now, who needs Melanin Monarchy the most? Out of all the 86 shows that I've seen, the comedians, the films, the documentaries, all these other people that I've seen, who needs Melanin Monarchy? Who needs my assessment? Who needs my expertise? Who needs me the most? Which one of the peoples that I've seen need me the most? All of them. All of them need me. They all need me. Oh, you guys need me. You gotta have me. You gotta, I'm your consultant. I'm the one who can tell you, because I'm the expert. I can tell you exactly what is missing and how you can definitely upscale, level up all those different types of things. So that was 2025. That was the year in 2025. This video is 30 minutes long. Thank you guys for keeping up with me. And I just want to say that I could not have done it with you guys. I could not have done without your support, without watching, without listening. Some of you guys talked about your own memories. I love that. I read every single comment, every single one. I read them all. And I love how you guys talk about your own experiences with live acts, with artists, with musicians, with other things. And I read all of that and I appreciate all of that. I even got some people who don't like the way I look. But ha ha ha, I'm from Detroit. So you want to talk about the way I look, you got to come better than that. Because if you ain't been roasted or dogged or trashed by black people, you a lame-o. I've been through worse. If you want to talk about how I look, whatever, you can go ahead. But again, I love it all. I love you all. I can't wait to 2026 to see what we do in 2026. And everybody have a blessed and wonderful new year. Can you say it with me? Toodle pip.